morning, there you are, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to my creative space. This is Emma on a wild and windswept spring day here in the UK. I hope you've had a good week. I hope you're feeling well and on top of the world, whatever that might mean to you. I'm currently in a very tranquil place at the moment. It's been a tumultuous, 10 days, 2 weeks, various things going on that I mentioned in my last video. You know how life is. Things come to try you and test you and see what you're up for doing, isn't, and expanding you and challenging you. And I think that's been very much the last few weeks. And it's all good, and to me it's all about how you deal with stuff, isn't it? It's about how you live, isn't it? I suppose, like, even now, where I am now, it's about how I live. It's not about, I don't know what the words are really. It's about how you live your life. So anyway, that's my little tale for this week. It's been great to come down here and get on with this piece, although this has been a challenge in itself. I'm being intrigued about how I'm trying to do this piece, what it means, what it represents to me, and trying to sort of keep on an artistic line that is about me has been a very interesting challenge. So we'll see where we get to with it today. I'm excited for it. I'm so excited, as I said last time, for seeing everybody's work all together. We're really working hard at the moment to try and pull this exhibition together. It's in a much bigger, smarter place. It's in a proper gallery, if you like. It's been a challenge to us to try and do what we normally do, but like step up. We're stepping up into something bigger. It's expanding us as a group, and it's great because we've now got stuff online. We're sharing photographs of what we're doing. We're working out how to do daft things like the labelling so that it all looks proper and professional and good and clean, so that we present ourselves in the best possible way with our work. We're just doing our work as we normally do, but there's just this little edge to it that just says, well, actually, this is an exciting challenge, how we're going to deal with it. And it's been great. We've come together, we've had many more meetings than we usually have, and that's been lovely in itself, just hanging out with other people, kindred spirits, other artists. Isn't that wonderful? It's just a great thing to do, and sharing and pooling our ideas, coming together, supporting each other is what it's all been about. So there we go. All is well. Let's get on with this piece and see where it's going to go today. Okay, so this is the flagstone area on the pier. This is the main part of the pier, and it's going to have the lighthouse and the capstan and all these other little bollards and things that are going to go on it. So I've done it very, very simply. It's not finished. I've just done it sort of quite roughly so I get the feeling of how I want it to be, and I might add some more stitching onto it. I haven't quite decided, but I just wanted to get this very simple effect. And I think my main remit is that the background is as simple as I can make it, because then the lighthouse and the other bits and bobs will stand out, and the whole thing has a simplicity. I don't want it to be fussy. So what I've got here is some pieces of fabric. Now this is a very, very old shirt. If I just show you, this will give you an idea of how old this shirt is. It's beautiful. It's made of linen and silk, and we bought it many years ago for my husband. I think I might have mentioned this, and it's been patched by me. So what I've managed to do is find enough of the fabric to do a background, and I've just started pinning things on, you can see, and I've had to make it in patches and pieces, so I've done extra bits to go on top to sort of create the feeling of sort of a sky going on. And I was thinking about perhaps adding some of this sort of like a soft effect in, like a cloud effect. I was thinking about adding some of this blue fabric in, but to be honest, I think it makes it way too fussy. I think, as I say, I want this piece to be very simple, quite plain in a way, just allowing all the shapes to tell their own story quite simply. So I'm just going to pin these pieces on. And I've got to try and make sure I get through all the different layers, and then I'll take it over to my sewing machine and we'll just do some very simple stitching to get it held in place. I'm so keen to get it all held in place on the back, and then I can have the fun of doing the extra bits and pieces, the lighthouse and so on. So I'm going to do that next. So you can see every stitch here. This is such a smooth fabric, everything's going to show. So I've got to really try and make sure my stitching's reasonable. But what I will do is I'll do some stitching and then I'll go over it again. This is just really holding it in place. And I'm just taking it real slow and steady. Okay, so this is where I've got to so far with the sky, and I'm just playing around with bits that I might or might not be going to add on to it. I haven't quite decided how sort of simple or complex I want it to be, and I think I possibly won't know exactly what I'm going to do with it until I've done more things down here, and I want to see the thing as a whole piece. But I'm on the way, and what I'm going to do next is I'll just pull this up a little bit. Just pull this up so you can see it. Let's see. Right, so what I'm thinking is, what I've got is, I've done some pattern pieces, and so say we've got the lighthouse going, that's going to go, oops, oh dear, I've got a lot of threads here. This is going to go kind of here-ish. That's kind of where that goes, I think. And this is not really how it looks, but it just helps me to see what I'm dealing with in terms of shape and position and how it looks with everything else. So I'm thinking that what I've done is I've traced off some bits for these. These are kind of, I don't know what you call them. They're kind of part of the, not kind of the pier. I can't think what you call it. It's like the walkways. It's like the arms of the harbour walls, I suppose, that protect the harbour from the sea. So this piece is going to go about here, and this is going to go up and over it a little bit, and then there's a little bit of sea over here and a little bit of sky, and then this bit is for over here. I think it goes that way around. It's much more straight on this side, so I might need to make sure it goes right to the edge. And obviously they're going to have to make sure that these are at the right sort of height for going across here, and what bits are going to go under, what bits are going to tuck under, and what bits are going to go on top. And this is the fabric that I'm going to use, and I'm going to cut those out next, and then it'll start to help pull the whole thing together, I think. So this is again another lovely piece of linen. This was a beautiful linen shirt, and I have used it on many projects. It's a really lovely fabric to work with, and I'm just going to, yes, that's the right way up, just going to pin it on here. It's quite funny working with pattern pieces. This is not something I normally do, because usually I just cut, but I'm just trying to keep it all in the right sort of fashion. Having started piecing and making it sort of all fit the particular, to fit the drawing, as it were, you know, once you start with that, I guess you've just got to continue, really. So I think we'll just pin that into something underneath. There we go, and this piece can go underneath like this. Oh, pin that one on as well. That's no good, is it? Where are we? Where are we? No good pinning it to the wrong bits. There we go, pin this one on as well. And allow for a little bit extra. I'm trying to make sure I allow for extra so that I can cut things away rather than having them too small. Many a time and oft, I don't know about you, but many a time and oft I've cut things a bit too small and regretted it, so I'd rather cut them a little bit big and be sure. There you go. I'm just going to go snippety snip. Okay, so actually I want to tell you a little story here. This is the next day I'm talking to you now, after yesterday when I was working with these pieces with the tracing and the drawing and making it all fit. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to take these pieces of tracing paper and I'm going to tear them up like that, because do you know what? That's not the way I want to work. I'm working in a way that isn't me. And I realised this yesterday. I went out for a walk yesterday afternoon, and it was a beautiful afternoon. And I'd been mulling over why I wasn't enjoying doing this, and why it was feeling really stressful, why it was feeling like I had to make everything meticulous and fit and draw it, and it was all about sort of controlling it, trying to control it, trying to make it look exactly like the drawing. And I thought, this is not me, this is not how I work. And funnily enough, just before I went for my walk, I was walking up from my studio to the house and a sparrowhawk flew past me. Now, a sparrowhawk is not one of my sort of animals. I usually work with deer and gentle creatures like a robin. I will often see a robin. And sometimes I'm lucky and I might see a deer or a hare or something like that. So sort of gentle creatures. Anyway, this sparrowhawk, which I knew to be a sparrowhawk because my daughters told me about them and showed me things about them. And it flew past me. It went literally past me. And I kind of went, oh my goodness, I'm not meant to be doing it this way. This is not how I work. I need to be wild. I need to be free. I need to interpret it. I'm trying to do something. Years ago, I ran a workshop and a lady was trying to work from a photograph and she was getting really frustrated because what she was making wasn't looking like a photograph. And I kind of said, well, you know, it's not meant to look like your photograph. A photograph is a photograph. Whereas what we do here with fabric and stitch, it's an interpretation. Same as with paint, same as with drawing, whatever medium you use. It's meant to be an interpretation, not an absolute, you know, here we are, this is how it is. So it was a really interesting lesson. And what I'm doing is I'm taking these pieces off that I'd meticulously cut and traced, and I just thought, nope. So I've cut some pieces by eye, and they may or may not be right. I don't really care. I'm trying to get back to the essence of what this piece is about. And it's about shapes. It's about this view. Somebody looking at this isn't going to go, oh my goodness, that piece of fabric is, 2 centimetres in the wrong place. It doesn't look like that. Because when you look at a view, don't you think? You just look at it and you interpret it and you feel it. And it is what it is. So I've actually put these pieces on and I'm going to just fiddle about with them. What I've done is I've actually trimmed this just before I started showing you this video. I've trimmed this back by eye and I will simply stitch it. And I don't like my sky. It's got too much precision. It's got too much organisation. I'm going to take these bits off. I don't like them. And I'm going to start playing around with some different pieces of fabric. I'm coming back to this piece. I rather like it because these are kind of free and loose. I'm loosening up, guys. I'm returning to where I've been these last few months. Obviously, I'm not using an embellishing machine, which is my favourite go-to machine because it really softens things. It really makes you loose. And I'm going to try and do it with this and get back to the essence of me rather than this control freak. And I think it's just like life, isn't it? When we let go of control, so many beautiful things can come in, so much I don't know, things that wouldn't happen if we try and meticulously control every little aspect of our life. There's no space, there's no capacity for freedom and possibilities to come in that we haven't even thought of. So that's where I'm at. I'm sharing this with you in a very honest fashion, and I'm now going to do some unpicking with my trusty unpicker, and we're going to see where it's going to go next. Hurrah for freedom! Let's be wild. That's what I say. Let's be like the sparrowhawk and fly free. So I can't tell you, this just feels so good. I'm just doing this in a very free way. How I think it is roughly according to the image. I've looked at the photograph, I've got the gist of it, it's working from my instincts now, and just I don't really care what it looks like as long as it gives the illusion of this view. That's all I care about. I've stopped being afraid of it and I'm just letting it come as it will come, which is great. So much more fun, so much more enjoyable, and letting go of fear. Who knew? That's all I had to do. This is so interesting, unpicking this, because I feel as though all of these stitches that I did in this piece so far on this blue section, it was all filled with fear. I was so afraid that the stitching wouldn't look good and the fabric wouldn't look good. It was all about fear. So I feel as though I'm now kind of unpicking my fears, if you like. The need to control, okay, the need to control came from fear. Fear that it wouldn't look good enough. And because I'm not working in my usual way, I was taken out of my comfort zone, which is actually not usually that comfortable, to be honest, when I'm just working freely. So, and look, there we go. And what you're seeing here is I've got two pieces of fabric joined up, so I was trying to sort of disguise that. And now I think I'm going to work with it somehow. I don't know how, but I'm going to work with it in a free fashion, unpick the rest, and we'll see where it's going to take us. I feel as though I'm just being liberated. Okay, so I'm back to playing with the sky, and what I'm doing is I'm simply cutting some of this fantastic fabric, which is just beautifully dyed and perfect for this job. It's dyed in a pattern, kind of. It's like a tie-dye or something. So I'm just cutting it quite roughly and loosely and allowing the shapes just to come. And if there's a bit of blue on them, there's a bit of blue on them. And if there isn't, it's just some white. And I'm just going to put these on here and play around until it just feels loose and free and nothing too, oops, just cut that bit off there. Nothing set in stone. Let's just be random. Let's just be loose. Even though I'm not using an embellisher, let's apply the same principles, which is just let the fabrics talk to me. Let the fabrics share with me what they want me to do. I can layer it. I thought about putting some of this pale soft blue on, but I just don't think it does anything for me. I don't think, although it might be that I'll add it underneath and then put these on top. I've got to do a little bit more playing and see what's going to happen. Isn't this fun? You see, now I've loosened up, I've softened into it, I've stopped trying to control it, and I'm having fun, and my enjoyment factor has just ramped up hugely. I've moved out of stress and control and fear, and I'm just having fun again and playing. And it's very interesting because this whole project, when I initially heard we were going to be doing this project, I was a little bit apprehensive. I was a bit scared. I didn't quite know how it was going to work out. And now I know that I needn't have worried, because now I've started playing with it again like this. Everything's going to work out. It doesn't matter how it works out. The important thing is my process. Oh, back to my process, eh? Highly recommend it. Get back to your process. Never mind the outcome. And I was so fixed on the outcome, wasn't I? Trying to control it. And that does nobody any good. So I'll get these sort of pinned on and arranged, and we'll see how it's going to work. Okay, so this is the fabric all pinned in place, and I'm really excited. A little bit daunted, but I've got to do some stitching now, but I'm excited because it's looking pretty wild, isn't it? It's looking like a sky, crazy though it seems. So thank you again for joining me here. I'm going to go and get some stitching done, and I will show you it next week, and we'll see where we're going to take it next. See you again soon. Bye for now. Ba ba da ba da ba da ba ba.